In the USA, I was several days at the CPAC thing, and it was like emerging from a suffocating environment in England and coming out into this sort of uplit land in America. It was just wonderful. When you live something for long enough, you don't really realize how bad it is. It's only when you get out and appreciate what other people have that you suddenly realize what you no longer have at home. I don't think people in the United States even really think about it. They just say roughly what they're feeling. Whereas everybody in England today is, especially England rather than Scotland and Ireland and Wales, it's a particularly English thing. And they are constantly thinking about what they're going to say and who is listening to what they're going to say and what the ramifications of that might be. It is like the 1984 with the little child's, with the spies and the child spies informing on their parents. It isn't as bad as that, but it is there. It exists. That fear of being informed upon by someone that hears you say the wrong word. Well, you think of the freedom is slavery, war is peace, and there was a third one which I can't remember. But the motto of the European Union is united in diversity. United in diversity is as ridiculous as freedom is slavery and war is peace. And the Ministry of Truth in 1984, where Winston Smith, writing all of his stuff, correcting the past. And this is something that is very similar in England now. This whole media, the way the media has just capitulated to political correctness, but something that is straight out of 1984. The Ministry of Truth. The BBC is now the Ministry of Truth. We only hear what the BBC wants us to hear, and we don't hear anything that they don't want us to hear. And everything that they put out is always slightly veered politically towards the left, and if they can't do that, they will simply ignore it. So it is 1984 in Britain today, and it should come as no surprise. They had INGSOC, INGSOC. INGSOC, the governing party, was English socialism. And this is what we have. We have English socialism, we have the Ministry of Truth under the BBC. Of course it's true, absolutely. The BBC is part of the whole propaganda machine. In fact, the BBC, in terms of propaganda, is the propaganda machine. If Goebbels had the BBC, with its enormous, massive output, because there is no news story that is broken in Britain today, really, unless it has been broken at some point by the BBC, because they are always the first ones there. So if they don't want something to go out, they will blank it. If they blank it, the regional newscasters don't get to hear about it. So we have things happening all the time in northern towns, for example. That will be reported by the local media. They will sub that up to the BBC, but the BBC will ignore it, which is part of the reason why for 20 years local papers were sort of implying that all of these rapes and groomings were going on. And they were sending this off to the BBC, but the BBC would rather we didn't know about that sort of thing because it interferes with their whole political process. Absolutely, yeah. The whole spine of England, the East Coast and the West Coast are pretty much okay, but the central spine of England, from sort of Oxford up to Birmingham and even beyond that now, that is becoming this vertebrae of Islam, and then the skeleton starts going off from left to right on either side of this. Denmark was good. We had it was the official launch for Pegida Denmark, sort of as in the whole new entity. Tommy was out there. Anne-Marie Waters was out there. The police did an absolutely marvellous job that I've never seen happen in England, because we were being subjected the whole way through from regular attacks by the left, and the police just essentially gave them a good hiding. And then after the event, they sat outside our hotel and they made sure we were okay because the left had got the name of the hotel. I looked at that and I thought that Denmark might possibly have a future because of Tanya Groth.